Yo, so we're going to be getting to our next guest, who is Smiley-D out of Washington State. He's got a brand new single. And to be honest, another guy that I only just came across this past week as well. He's got a brand new single called Make It Known. We're going to be getting into that a little bit later as well. Let's get straight into it. Smiley, you there, man?
Yeah. What's going on, man?
Yeah, brother. Welcome to HopeJamz radio show, man. Glad to have you on. First time you come on.
Yes. First time on the interview in England, so in the UK. So shout out to all my peoples out in the UK. Appreciate this opportunity.
Definitely, man. So like I said, man, I mean, this is real talk for me. Like, I only just found you this past week, so this is as interesting as it is for me as it is for everyone listening, because I'll be learning about you at the same time. But I want to get into it, man. So tell us, like, how did you get into the music scene? Like, where did you come from, man? And is your testimony wrapped up in how you got into the scene, or is that separate, or what?
Yeah. I got in the scene pretty much. You know, I grew up just loving hip hop, and my dad wasn't really around, so whenever I was growing up, I looked up to a lot of hip hop artists, and they became my role models, especially like, the things they talked about, me growing up with a single mother with 5 kids, and growing up in poverty and things like that. A lot of the hip hop artists, they glorified, getting money, cars and houses and all these things. And so that really intrigued me, because it was like, well, my family's struggling. And so pretty much, that kind of influenced me to get into hip hop. And it ultimately, led me down, my path, my previous path when I was, selling drugs and, being a womanizer and, just, carrying guns, going to jail and all those things. And so it kind of led me down that path. But then, God, definitely redeemed me and, really showed me that, it's a better way to do this. And so I've pretty much been doing music ever since I was 12 years old. And so I'm 30 years old now. So I've just been, grinding, done a lot of tracks with a lot of well-known artists, that are pretty well-known in the United States and across the world. And so, but now I'm here and I'm doing it for the Lord and doing it for the people.
Yeah, man, I hear that, man. So tell us, like, the aspect of getting into the music scene. Like, you said you worked with some big names. Have you always, like, did you find it easy to get into as well? Is your music been like a smooth kind of road? Like, how long have you been doing it for?
Yeah, so I've been doing music 18 years, and just how I started, I just started off, just recording and stuff, and this was back in 2005, 2006, and so when I started recording, I used to be terrible. I used to listen to myself, and I go back and listen to myself every now and then. I'm like, this is terrible, but I was developing too, and so. And when I started, I was just hustling, I would just go out, I'll sell my CDs at the street corners, sell them out the trunk of my car. That's what they were doing a lot during that time, before like the internet really blew up. And so people would, go to the clubs and sell their CDs out the trunk of their car, or, post up on the corner store and sell their CDs to people coming in and out the store. And so that's what I was doing. And so that kind of launched me into, being more known in the community as a hip hop artist, and people, coming out to my concerts and stuff. And then I eventually, started getting more into the internet, the music game and the internet. And that's when I linked up with quite a few famous artists that are pretty famous now. And so I kind of, found them, before they were famous. And so we linked up, did some tracks and stuff like that. And so that was kind of like the early stages of, me really getting known in the music arena. And so, and a lot of times, like, from me going from, gangster rap music to gospel music, it's almost like, it's weird because it's like a total different fan base, but at the same time, the gospel music is supposed to be for the people that are in the streets, And so that was kind of a hard transition as well, because, I lost a lot of supporters and stuff. And so I had to kind of build up from the ground up again, because I pretty much changed, my style, changed my message, and a lot of people wasn't really feeling that. And so now I'm kind of at this point where I'm just trying to, shape my message to where it can be for, people in the faith as well as people in the streets. And so I'm kind of in that midst right now.
Yeah, man, I feel you. What I would say to that is I would say just keep it to what people can hear it in the streets. Keep the message in there, but keep it just for the streets. Well, you got to find your lane, I guess. But I mean, yeah, man, it's hard, man. If you're trying to straggle that line, man, like pleasing both sides, it's too hard, man. I think what I always say is like people in the hood, they're the ones that need to hear the gospel. You know what I mean? The people in the church, mostly they already got it. So yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to shout some names out of like people you've worked with then?
Yeah. I've worked with his Filthy Rich. I've worked with Jessica Domingo, T Nutty, Stevie Joe. Had a track with MTV Riff Raff. And those are just a few names to throw out there. And so, and these people are, doing it on a bigger scale, and so, it was, honor working with them at that time, but, now I'm on a different path and I'm trying to, communicate a different message,
Yeah, man. And when you said you changed everything, have you always had the same name, Smiley-D?
Yeah, I kept the same name. And so, I just felt like that was something that could be redeemed. And, and a lot of times, I know when artists come from like, whether they're doing like music for, the world or whatnot, they change their name when they become a Christian and stuff. And so, I just felt like my name can be redeemed. And I want the people that were looking at me then, to look at me now and see where I'm at. I want them to see the transformation and know who they're looking for, who they're looking at, and seeing that I'm a new person. And so I decided to keep my name the same.
Yeah, man, I'm so glad you did that, man. I'm so happy you did that, because that's something I've said before. Is like, it's obviously as a radio presenter of the show for hip hop, at least, it's something I come across all the time. Like people, especially if someone's come from the streets and they find Jesus, they tend to change their name, and it always tends to be something like some kind of mad name derived from Jesus or Christ or Christian or something. You know what I mean? You get all these kind of weird, wonderful names, but it's like, I've always said, man, just keep your name, keep your original name, because it's the person is being redeemed, and by keeping your name, at least you're holding something to who you were before, which could help to reach people like your old fans and stuff like that. So I think it's a good thing, man.
Yes, definitely.
Ah, man. So tell us about the music then. Obviously we got "Make It Known," the single, which we're going to be playing in a bit. Tell us, what else have you got coming then? How is this like in relation to what you've put out already? Are you gearing up for a bigger release or something?
Yeah, I'm actually gearing up for my album called Alpha Mentality. Pretty much I've been in a phase, where I wouldn't even say a phase, it's always been me, but over the years I've held, my tongue a lot, you know what I'm saying? And just to kind of keep peace, or just to build relationships. I've listened to a lot of people. I've listened to a lot of people's views on life. Where I live, it's one of the most unchurched, counties and even states in the United States. And so, I'm dealing with, working with a lot of different people and getting to know a lot of different people that have a lot of different beliefs. And so, and I've listened to them, and kind of just, hearing their backstory and stuff. So now I'm sharing where I'm at, and so, and I'm not holding my tongue, and so it's called Alpha Mentality, pretty much, stands for like alpha male, it kind of has a two kind of definitions, being an alpha male, speaking my mind and saying, what I feel, along with, God being Alpha and Omega, and, trying to have the mind of Christ as well, and so, and that mentality of Christ that Christ had in his outlook on life. And so, that's pretty much what I'm working on. I had released a single off that, and then now Make It Known is the second single. And so, I'm pretty much just releasing, a couple singles out before I release the big project, and the big project is due to come out in this winter. I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be January or February, but I'm gearing up for that right now.